how to deal with warfare, then whenever the test come, because the test is going to come, there's no way to get around it. The test is going to come anytime that you verbally commit yourself to something. You express any type of love with something, any type of bonding with something, you can rest assured that there's going to be some conflict that is going to show up. It's going to have to go through a time of testing. That's what's going to show what exactly it has been made out of. All of the time that was spent together, let's use a relationship, all of that time of hugging and goo eyeing and all those type things, all of that should have been used in a manner of solidifying the relationship, making sure that it was built upon a firm foundation. Why? Because there's going to come some testing. There's going to come some testing. Now, how does that tie into Ephesians, what I talked about with the armor? It says, having your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Shod means covered. Having your feet covered with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Why do I need this gospel of peace? Because when adversity comes, peace is what's going to cause me to remain intact. Peace is what's going to cause me to not cut up. Peace is what's going to cause me to yet remain steadfast, unmovable, and always abounding in the work of the Lord. When I say I have peace, I don't care what goes on. I got peace in the fact that I know that this is where God told me to be. I got peace in the fact that I know that this is what God has called me to do. Lord, help me. I got peace in it. See, that's having your feet shod, which means covered. You've got to make sure that anytime that you connect to something, anytime that you become a part of something, don't you run away from the covering. Don't you get away from the Lord. Help me, please. I'm trying to help y'all this morning. Don't you get away from that cover. You gonna mess around and get destroyed playing around with that cover. Don't let it pull you from the covering. I don't care what you're dealing with. I don't care what situation you're going through. Don't you let it pull you from your covering, because that is the thing that protects you. That is the element of what God has set in place. That is the peace. That means the storm is raging, but I am yet in peace, God. You done already told me, and I am assured in that. I am peaceful in that. Yeah, I see the wind beating up vehemently over there. Yeah, I see what's going on over there, but what? I am in peace. I am yet in peace. Why? Because I got my feet shod. My feet are covered. My where I travel, it is covered. So I don't have to worry about that. If we mess around and allow our steps, the direction to which we're going, to go in an opposite way of our covering, then we are going to be in trouble. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There are strategies to warfare, y'all. There are elements of how you effectively win warfare. We need to learn how to engage in warfare and how to win when we are in warfare. It is conflict. That is the word, though. The meaning of warfare, again, is the dealing or handling of conflict. How do we deal with it? What do we do? It has been said, I've seen where people have gone through conflict and were literally shut down. Like, well, when I start going through stuff, I just get to myself, danger, danger, danger. Can you say danger, red flag, danger, danger? That is one of the most dangerous things to do, is to isolate yourself. One of the most dangerous things, because what he is about to do is he is about to take that covering off your feet. If he can get that covering off your feet, that is the first thing he wants to remove. If he can get the covering off of your feet, where your feet are covered, shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, which means you're at ease about where you are, about what you're doing. You're at ease about it. If he can get your feet from being covered, then what he's going to do is turn you in another direction, send you in a whole different entire direction. You are supposed to be to the left, but now he sent you to the right. You're in a whole different direction because of getting away from the covering. The enemy wants to remove every one of us from that which protects us. Point blank period. I don't care who you are. I don't care. Every one of y'all under the sound of my voice right now. Know this if you don't already know it. The enemy wants to remove you from your covering. He wants to remove you from it. If he can remove you from your covering, he gonna get you straight, literally destroy. That is his whole tactic. To literally destroy. And so please don't ever think, I don't care how high you get. I don't care how much of the Holy Ghost you think you got. I don't care how much of this intellect or whatever it is that you got. You mess around and be like them sons of Sceva. With what happened with them. Trying to deal with the enemy out of your own volition is not going to work. Trying to deal with the enemy out of your own intellect and the hypocrisy of speaking things or saying things and know that we have no depth with it, it will tell on you every time. His whole object is to pull us out. Pull us out. Connect or commit in any area and automatically go ahead and prepare yourself for warfare because it's coming. It's going to come to try to pull, to detour, to cause some type of division between that to which the Lord has covenantly connected you to, that has you covered. In a marriage, the husband is the covering of the wife. He's going to try to do what? Disconnect. In a ministry, I say ministry because that's what I have. In a ministry, whomever the Lord has connected you to, who he has placed as a covering, what is he going to do? Try to disconnect. What does he do? Parents are covering for their children. So what does the enemy do? Try to disconnect the parent from the kid. What does the Bible say? Fathers against sons, daughters against mothers. Why? Because he does not want us to be connected to that the Lord has assigned to cover us. Listen, man, y'all, please. Look, don't be naive. Come on. I can talk to you about that. I have done that and literally was walking away from my covering, and the Spirit of the Lord spoke to me just as clear as I'm talking to y'all and said this right here. You won't live 60 days. You won't live. I'm talking about be dead. They'll be burying you, putting you in the ground. You won't live 60 days because you got to understand that the attack of the enemy or the whole object of the enemy is to kill you. He's not just trying to rough you up. It's to kill you. It's to kill you. For the thief cometh but to steal, kill, and to destroy. It is to kill you. It is not to just put some bruises on you. No, it's to kill. It is to kill. So we have to be careful. We literally have got to be careful because that is the whole object of the enemy. It is to kill. I've seen it too many times happen, y'all, where I'm telling you, I've seen it. It's still a mystery to me. I don't have the whole full revelation of it. If any of you do have any insight on this, want to share it, please let me know. But look, this let me know about this. How many of you have seen it or it has happened in your own life as to where you have said or you have seen somebody that have said that God has connected them to somebody or something or somebody or somewhere, just to see a little while later that they're not there anymore or there's some major conflict that has taken place. How many of y'all, like myself, you've seen that happen? And it's confusing. It's confusing. I'm telling y'all, I'm 20-something years in Christ. If I live to see April, 20, 23, I think it is. 23 years of starting my journey with Christ. And I still don't have the full revelation, the understanding of that. Because I've seen it so much. I've seen it happen too much. Where is the stability? There is a difference between transitioning and separating. There is a difference, y'all, between transitioning and separating. Transition is part of growth. Separating is a tearing. It means that there was not a release. There was a break. Let me out of here. I want out of here now. It is a tearing. So in warfare, you have to understand. In warfare, you have to understand the elements of it and how to effectively engage in warfare. We have to know, because if we don't, this is the type of stuff that will happen. I've seen it. Yeah, I see you, Tasha. I've seen it. I've seen it. I have literally wanted to understand it. Everywhere that I have gone, I have transitioned out of. But if I tell you that there didn't come conflict to attempt to make me separate, I would be lying. Now, my journey started in Tampa, Florida, 1997, at Living Faith, Assembly of God. That's where I accepted Jesus Christ into my life. My encounter with him started. Now, the Lord had me there, but then he told me he was sending me back home, and that was back to Alabama. He transitioned me back to Alabama. Pastor Malcolm Burley was my pastor, and it was smooth. There wasn't no me and Living Faith. There was conflict between me and Living Faith. It wasn't none of that. It wasn't none of that. If it can't be peaceable conversations about the place from both parties, then that's conflict. That's conflict. Well, I came back to Alabama. When I came to Alabama, Miss Louise Crittenden called me. So I didn't really have a place in Alabama. I didn't know where the Lord wanted me to go. So I started attending Apostolic Church of Jesus Christ with Miss Louise Crittenden now. I was only there for a season of time. But my transition from there, this is how the Lord did me with that. I was sitting in service one day, and Pastor Martin was playing the piano. And he wasn't singing, he was just playing music where the Lord placed a song in my spirit. I'm musically inclined and gifted in certain aspects of music. I can hear a tune and put words and stuff to it. So the Spirit of the Lord began to say to me, gave me a song, and it was about my transitioning out of there. Elder Martin, I talked to Elder Martin. Elder Martin released me, transition. It went clear, good. Because the Lord would send me then over to First United Pentecostal Church, where Michael Harrell and Pastor Henderson would be my pastors. I served with them for 9 years. The Lord transitioned me from there, sent me to Gainesville, Florida. Transition from First United was good. It wasn't no issue. It wasn't no conflict. They loved me. I loved them. No conflict. Transitioned me to Gainesville, Florida. Only sent me to Gainesville for a season. Actually, I believe he only sent me there for Brother Arnold to deposit something in me that I still minister on and still live by today. He taught me about the spirit of Laban. Laban, Laban in the Bible. There is a spirit that is attached to Laban. Maybe one day I'll teach y'all about that. God allowed him, because at that time that spirit of Laban was pursuing my life. And so he sent me there to develop me in that aspect, and I met some friends that I still am good friends with now, some covenant relationships. Only stayed in Gainesville. I don't even think it might have been a year. Stayed in Gainesville. The Lord transitioned me back to Alabama. When he transitioned me back, I went to First United Pentecostal because that's what I was familiar with. I thought when I was in